now? What inspired you to take such a difficult profession?
Then in 1967, that heart transplant which took place in Cape Town, South Africa, and that was, all across on the front page of the newspapers. Maybe you can say infatuation. Before I knew what heart surgery entailed, if someone asked, would you like to become a doctor? I would say, no, I want to become a heart doctor.
Today, with these kind of pollution levels, I've heard this concept of an oxygen bar. Is that required?
I don't think. They are not going to help matters at all. Is 100% oxygen in any case is
It's not good.
It's detrimental to health and you can't survive. Mona darling, इसको लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन के टैंक में डाल दो, लिक्विड इसको जीने नहीं देगा और ऑक्सीजन इसको मरने नहीं देगी.
The simple sugar, which is your maida, the bread, the pizzas, the potato and everything. And when you say fast food, because fast food is generally, the foundation is maida.
Simple sugar is not chini. Maximum amount of cholesterol is being made from simple sugars. How can you market drugs direct to the consumer? And you drive the fear of God in him and tell him, hey, if you don't take it, you can get a heart attack.
Do you issue these kind of advices to the government?
Oh yeah, the government knows about it.
It's consuming the same things. It's fast food everywhere. It's Blinkit and Zepto. Everything is right on the phone now. And person who's working, whether it's in Gurgaon or anyone, there is hardly any options without these, except for he calls a salad once a day. Fried भी है, मीठा भी है, सब कुछ है और सब कुछ इतना dangerous है.
The person has to be himself aware of what is good for him or bad for him. And if you are ignorant, then I'm sorry, it's to your peril.
We are really hearing so much of these young adults getting heart attacks.
All these deaths which are occurring are not heart attacks. We should get that right. So they are not heart attacks. They have a lot of other conditions which they have ignored.
Hi friends, and welcome back to The Conscious Way. So today we have a guest, and we're going to have a real conscious, a heart-to-heart discussion. The very renowned cardiac surgeon, Dr. O.P. Yadav. He's the CEO of the National Heart Institute, and he's also the director of Indian Heart Foundation. And besides this, he's an avid reader, he's a fitness enthusiast, and he's also into golfing. And as he said, he mentioned that he's an avid reader beyond the subject of medicine also. So we're really going to pump out very interesting conversations from him. We're going to try and find out what is beyond the well-being also. And we'll talk about his personal life, his journey, how he's so inspired and motivated because he has performed almost 18,000 cardiac surgeries till date and still counting. And if I give you a perspective, I was calculating from today, if we do one cardiac surgery, which he did right here in the morning, every day if we do one surgery, it's going to take 50 years from now to reach that figure. So we're going to ask him, how did he manage so much? What is the secret behind that concentration, that motivation, and how he's so inspired in life? So thank you so much, Dr. O.P. Yadav, for making it. He's coming right from the hospital and he's going back to the hospital and he's given his 2 precious hours with us. So we're going to make it as interesting and as simple as possible for all the viewers. So doctor, the first thing.
Thank you for getting me over.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Actually, I should really thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
So what inspired you? Are we going to go back 50 years from now? What inspired you to take such a difficult profession, at that point of time? There are so many options. There were not so many options, but this is one of the most difficult. Was it your calling or was it advised to you by your parents?
Well, I would say both of them. Those were the days where the options were very limited. We didn't have these wide options. And quite often you sort of took up a profession just by the marks you achieved kind of a thing. If you get higher grade, you go into this, next you go into this, and next you go into that. So that passion came.
But those grades were still of the 10th grade at that point of time? Then you choose your subject?
No. This is, I'm talking of when I was in class 6, 7, 8, that kind of a thing.
You were getting good grades?
Well, yes, I was getting reasonably good grades. And then in 1967, that heart transplant which took place in Cape Town, South Africa, and that was, all across on the front page of the newspapers. And I still remember having kind of, not known what a transplant is, but yet, not even reading English that well at that stage, but still joining words together and joining to get a sentence. That heart transplant, I still can remember, evoked a sort of a flutter in your heart. And maybe you can say infatuation before I knew what heart surgery entails.
Oh, so it was
I
your
said,
decision.
look, I want to become a heart doctor. If someone asked, would you like to become a doctor? I would say, no, I want to become a heart doctor. So that kind of a thing. So it was more an infatuation for the specialty, and I have no regrets.
Oh, obviously. I really never knew that heart transplant took place back in 1965. You talking
67.
So almost 60 years from now.
Yeah.
Before you coming, I just
Christian Bernard.
Googled, you know, how many heart transplants are being done, and it's a 90% success rate now. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, now this is again a new perspective for me. But do you do certain practices like to maintain that work-life balance or to maintain that focus and concentration?
Well, I do certain practices, but to say that, do I do them for maintaining that focus? The answer is no.
Okay.
When I was young, I never did those. But after I got a whip on my back, I got a heart attack myself, and I had 2 stents. Then I realized, look, I have to change.
Okay.
And instead of working 18 hours a day and eating and drinking like any other person does, a human being, I amended my ways. And it's good about 12, 14 years, and I'm doing extremely well. I'm touching 70 and no problems. So now I do those practices, then I didn't do. But yeah, meditation, pranayam, alom vilom, all those
Okay.
things that
You
you see,
regular with
those
that.
are very valuable practices, and if youngsters could take to them, that's great. I didn't do them.
What was your life like 15 years back when you were like, you know, you just mentioned so casually, I was like everyone, drinking and working hard, partying harder. Were you like a party harder person?
Well, I was working in Gangaram Hospital, and that hospital is known for the social networks and the camaraderie, and probably 4 days in a week. You know, you come back from the hospital 9:30 and you're tired, and you tell your wife, I'm just at the traffic light, you get ready and then meet me outside, and then straight away we'll go attend a party, come at middle of the night, and next day morning 6 back to work. So that was the kind of, I'm not.
And at those times you were not following any practice. You were saying really working 8 to 10 hours in the theater
Yes.
and doing.
No, I was personally not doing any of these.
Okay.
No. It's
Like-
only when I got that insult, then I started and I changed myself.
No, I didn't get you. You were not personally doing any of these means?
Means I wasn't doing pranayam, yoga, meditation,
That's fine.
those
I got
things
that.
I
You
wasn't
started
doing.
after you got a pat on your back.
Yeah. But once I got that event, then I started doing all this.
So didn't you realize that point of time that whatever you were doing, that kind of high stress situation, work hard, party harder, was actually putting a lot of pressure on your heart? Or you were like us youngsters, you never cared. कि मुझे नहीं होएगा.
Yes, that's exactly what happens. You always think that it can be anyone but me. But
That is so true.
by the same token, probably that was relevant at that time when you were going to establish yourself. I mean, I returned from Australia. For the first 3 months, I had done a total of 4 surgeries. So, kind of, I was even contemplating going back. That look, life is difficult in this country. Let me go back and Australia. The offer was with me that you can come back. So,
What made you stay? It's such an advanced, beautiful country, Australia.
well, but you know, home is home.
Home is home.
Your family is here, and everything is different. That's very superficial, very artificial. Even the color of the carrots, when we used to go out orange, we used to remember, wow, red carrots are back home.
So which is artificial, that or ours?
So kind of, no, I never have any regrets of either going there for those 5 years of training, but absolutely no regrets coming back.
Okay, so you loved here. And the other way, which has been the longest or the most difficult surgery. So what happens when you are predicting something, ki, okay, easy hai, har roz ki tarah wahi hona hai, and something just comes up, which you are not aware of or not prepared for. That kind of a
That's
situation.
the kind of a thing we face every day, every day. You know, when we put the patient on the heart-lung machine, that's not what nature designed the body for. And no matter what level of advancements you may have in technology, you can't match you
part
know,
of nature.
the natural heart and the lungs. So it's a very, I mean, I wouldn't say common thing. It was common way back in 1780. You have done everything right, and yet you are not able to take the heart-lung machine off. And we used to have patients on heart-lung machines supported for 10 hours. So those were, but the one you are talking of, I would say, was the COVID time.
COVID times.
Yeah, that was, you know, a patient on ECMO, ECMO is a extracorporeal membrane support, artificial heart support, and for 48 days support, and then the patient went home. So that was very exciting to the entire team. And
48 days
of the
patient was an artificial
support system.
Oh, really? Okay, again, something new. I never believed that.
Yeah. So those are cases which, you know, kind of give you immense satisfaction. But unexpected things coming on the operating tables are a very common thing.
So when you're in such a position, you know, you're really managing life of people. You become God for them. So many times, you know, I remember when my father got an attack and you operated, I was only 24 years of age and I had no idea, never read about heart or something. And the only thing was that I wanted to speak to you. So many times it used to happen. Your subordinates used to come, sab theek hai, and I used to say, ek bari bas doctor, you know. And your one statement, don't worry, he's fine. It used to be like, okay, let's go. Does that give you some kind of, how do you maintain that groundedness, you know? You're being treated like God, like there's nothing bigger than that.
Well, I tell you, at any moment in time, the other guy who can deliver you something for which you have a need is on a godly pedestal. When you are standing on a platform and you want a train ticket which you don't have, then the TT checker is on a godly pedestal.
Not the same.
So
it's
I
not
don't
like
think,
life is way
No. So, you know, this is a thing which we have been talking a lot. Should medicine be placed on godly pedestal? I have a strong reservation. No, this is just one of the professions. All professions are noble. I mean, I refuse to accept sweeping on the floor. It is a very noble profession.
But it's very important, I agree. But
so this extra pressure that has been put on medicine, but if that be so noble profession, we also have violence against the doctors. And that violence is an international phenomenon. Do you know, China, there is a terminology called Yi Now, Y-I, Now, N-A-O. I mean, a aphorism or a term has been devised for such is the extent of the problem. Okay. So where is the profession on the godly pedestal if you want to say this? So I would say, let doctor be an ordinary mortal. Don't put extra pressure on the doctor, even budding years. I'm telling you, this is driven into the mind of our youngsters when they are training. You are on a godly pedestal. No, let him be a human being. Let him have a work-life balance. Don't expect that he should be working 48 hours sitting with the patient. No. So I have reservations about this godly pedestalness that medicine is being given.
But I feel somewhere that is being done. I've read about this. Somewhere it's being done so that, you know, that responsibility is given to that person that yes, you will have to manage beyond circumstances sometimes, go way beyond your limits also to help others. Even that person is not related to you. So वो एक inculcation आती है तो लगता है कि नहीं यार.
You are interviewing me, I'm not, but may I ask you, isn't the same expected of any citizen on the walking on the roads? That you go beyond the call of the duty and help the other man if he
See,
needs
it's expected to make a country beautiful. Yes, every citizen should be like that. But you know, your profession specifically, or I would say the profession of a cop, where you have exigencies and people really, they just come to you in a state which is beyond their control. Really, things which they don't even understand of.
Well, Voltaire said, do you know what about medicine? Medicine, like war, is conjectural and murderous. This is recorded. And Alexander the Great said, I'm dying because of the treatment of too many doctors. So where is certain, lot of sane elements have not put the doctors on a godly pedestal. We don't want to be pushed down the thing, but don't elevate a man beyond what is the rightful status of that profession. It's a good profession. You have passion for it.
Yeah.
Join it.
Then join
but
it,
don't
yes.
do it because it puts you on godly pedestal. And I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works.
Yes, this
That
I
person
think-
who's
yes.
in distress. I mean, I shouldn't say, but we operated on the sitting governor of Delhi. And when he was to be shifted on the thing, I was to the operating theatre. I was kind of accompanying the jolly governor. And then suddenly someone holding the leg, and I looked down, it was the first lady. The first lady saved my husband. Now, what do you think you're going to take out of, oh, wow, I'm the God? No, that's the emotion of that person.
Yes, yes.
I tell you, all people in Israel would have fell at the feet of the Hamas, that please don't take our people away. So they will also have fallen at the feet. So, no, medicine is a profession, a wonderful one. Born again, I want to be born and doing
Become a
what I'm
doctor.
doing. But certainly, I don't want that godly pedestal.
So when you say a godly pedestal, do you believe in God?
God. Again, you know, the answer is not going to be a black and white yes and no. If you think that
You can give it
God is an anthropometric God as we see it, certainly I don't. But if you want to take the wise Spinoza definition, that God is the principle responsible for the structure and the operation of the world.
Yeah, the creation. Yes.
Well, if that be so, then probably I can't pick cudgels with that. But having said that, these are such esoteric, speculative thoughts which are good for academia. For an ordinary man, I think we should let the God survive and let there be a God, because that's what gives him some degree of strength in moments of distress. It gives him resilience. It gives him something to hold on to when he's in trouble. So why destroy that faith?
Oh yes, truly,
But
truly.
is there a God within my core of the heart? No, probably not.
So when you say that it's basically the rituals and the temple, that's what you don't believe in, that's been created by all
No,
of us.
that's religiosity.
That's religion.
So that's
but
not even
the higher
God.
power. How much do you attribute your success in the OT to him?
Oh, well, that's a difficult question. I don't know. I mean, let me tell you, it's again no definite yes and no. When I do a thing and I succeed, then I say I created the destiny
Okay.
and it's me. When I do a difficult operation and it succeeds, then I say, wow, what a great job I've done. But when I fail, then I take solace in blaming him. Oh, what can I do? It was his prarabdha.
I tried my best, but,
But it is this. So, this debate of do you believe in God and these are multifaceted and contextual. The relevance is to the context. When distressed, yes, there is a God, and I believe in fate, and I believe in destiny. But when all is well, when you indulge in hedonism, there is no God, there is no destiny, you create your own destiny, and you've got a free will. So that's the kind of thought. I don't have a real answer. A philosopher would be able to tell.
That's, I mean, a lot of people who into medicine or scientists, they simply say, we believe in God, we will not be able to do our professions properly. So we have to be totally in the thing that we are, result of our own actions, and whatever we do, we have to do only ourselves. A lot of scientists, a lot of doctors say all that, but exactly.
That's a kind of a dual. We have to do everything by our own action means you're talking of free will.
Yes.
But by the same token, we say we believe in God. If you believe in God, then you are a determinist. Everything is determined prior. So how do you explain that logic? I don't know. I mean, we have to create our own destiny.
Oh
I
yes,
think.
our actions are definitely required. But yes, as you said, जब कुछ गलत होता है, then at least you have a shoulder कि I did my best, and rest I just give it in those hands. So, okay, now let's just talk about for all of us, the younger generation and everything. So today, with these kind of pollution levels, doctor, I've heard this concept of an oxygen bar. Have you heard of oxygen bars which are coming up in Delhi and NCR?
Absolutely.
Is that required?
I don't think. They are not going to help matters at all, at all. Even these, what are the smoking guns with water being sprayed?
That even I agree. I don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah. So all these are, I think, they're trying to brush the problem under the carpet. You want to do something to be seen by the world. So these are very specious kind of data in their favor.
No, oxygen bar is where you actually go and you take an oxygen machine and sit with that machine for half an hour.
Yes.
So the thing is that at least you're taking pure oxygen for at least half an hour twice a week, which is good for your health.
Well,
isn't it?
Your audience is not medical, but they are educated. There is a trial called the Anoxia, Anoxia trial. And any saturation more than 94% in the blood is not neutral, it is harmful. Today in modern medicine, if your saturation is more than 94% after heart attacks and open heart surgery, we are not giving even supplemental oxygen of 5 liters or 4 liters. So what to talk of 100%? And 100% oxygen in any case is
it's not good.
It's detrimental to health and you can't survive. So even in the bars, they don't give you 100%. But that kind of is, no, it doesn't do any good. This is very superficial science and it's a commercial exercise, not scientifically based.
A good oxygen, even if it's not 100% and they have a medical board to govern it, it's not good for health. I was planning to go for
you remind me of my college days. There was a movie and I don't remember the name of the movie when the famous actor Ajit, Mona darling, इसको लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन के टैंक में डाल दो, लिक्विड इसको जीने नहीं देगा और ऑक्सीजन इसको मरने नहीं देगी. That concept is all right for Hindi movie. It is not true here. You can't put a person in an oxygen chamber and say it's good for health. No, oxygen, everything, that's the basic philosophy which, even Aristotle spoke of that golden mean. He spoke of that golden mean, that don't go into the two extremes. And we are here, either we are polluted with the kind of pollution we have, where oxygens are running low.
So this is an extreme, 400 plus.
This is one extreme.
So how do you balance it?
Well, you don't balance it by taking 100% oxygen. You don't balance it, and that doesn't help, A lot of people walking with these ordinary masks. Now, if you put N95 masks, still I would say yes. But then with N95 masks, can you do exercises? You will not be able to exercise.
Yes.
So you can sit or walk a very gentle pace. So what the people are doing, they open their nose and then they put the mask, or they put it on the side and let the air get in. So these are all just to make yourself good. So oxygen bars are nothing. They are nothing. This is not science. This is all shenanigans.
You ruined my weekend plan.
No, I don't subscribe to them.
So when you say N95 mask, even I used to wear it, and aren't you just breathing what you're exhaling?
No.
Because the entire exhalation does not go out of the N95 mask. If you see, when the moment you inhale, you see that warmth of your own breath. So for some time it's fine, but even isn't that harmful?
Some degree of recycling will occur. But large part of the warmth you are talking of is not entirely your breath. The warmth is that the inner lining of that has been made warm by your exhaled breath.
Okay.
So when you are inhaling also, it is through those pores that the air is coming, so it gets warmed up. So that warm feeling you get is not entirely your exhaled breath. No, it is not. And you exhale and inhale 500 milliliter for an average 50 kilo man. Okay. So 500 ml is not the capacity of the mask.
Okay.
So how can you hold that? So that air is thrown out. You take fresh air, which is filtered, depending on N95 means 3 layers of filtration. And the warmth is because of the warming of the lining.
So is it fine going for a morning walk with an N95 mask?
Well, you can wear it, but you will not be able to walk for health, because for walking for health is 6 to 8 kilometers an hour. You walk at the golf, yes, better than not walking, but that's not counted as an aerobic walk for health. Because you walk 100 meters on the fairway and then you stop for 5 minutes and then you take a swing and then you walk 100 meters. So that's not the walk. So if you want to walk 6 to 8 kilometers, N95 doesn't allow you to walk.
And
that.
when the doctors say don't walk during those times, whenever the AQI goes above 250, you should not walk. So I've not walked since last 3 months.
No, we've been, even today's Hindustan Times have an article on this. You should walk the lowest, the particulate matter 2.5 and 10. That is the least between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m.
Yeah, when the
so
sun is
in the afternoon, it is advocated that you walk. Don't walk on the main highways or the roads. Try and walk a little. If you've got a park, that's the best place. If not, at least 1 or 2 lanes behind the highway. There you go and take a walk, and you must. And if worse, during these times, sometimes you may do, if you have a gym, then you do inside your house a treadmill or something. But N95 once you wear, then you can't do a health walk.
The simple sugar, which is your maida, the bread, the pizzas, the potato and everything. And when you say fast food, because fast food is generally, the foundation is maida.
Yeah. They sponsor research for heart diseases. These guys, the scientists actually found that simple carbohydrates are harmful for health and fats are also harmful for health. So what the cola companies did, they did not tell the scientists to say simple sugars are good for health. No, they didn't ask them to say. They said just that this information will not be released.
Yes, I know, I've seen this Netflix and even you should see that.
And you know, only thing, fats are bad for health. From bloody 60s till 1990s, 30 years we were sent on wild goose chase after fats, ignoring simple carbohydrates, when in 2024, between the two, if you have to choose, it is the simple sugars which are more disastrous.
The white sugar.
Simple sugars means white sugar, aloo, safed chawal, refined atta, maida. Simple sugar is not chini, simple sugar is carbohydrate. So you know, so many, it is the simple sugars which are harmful. And the simple sugar is converted in the liver when the American Heart Association or the FDA, they released dietary fat is not that crucial. Now people did not get the right meaning, and Indian press also, all across the newspaper, fat is not important, new research showed. No, the word was dietary fat. Why? Fat is important, cholesterol is important. But dietary, they said, dietary cholesterol contributes to barely 8% of your total body cholesterol.
Okay.
Maximum amount of cholesterol is being made from simple sugars. The simple sugars that you eat, which are simple carbohydrate. Sugar doesn't mean chini.
So
please do get that.
Kya aata hai? Everything white, I would say, like the bread, white bread.
It is carbohydrates.
That's carbohydrate.
Carbohydrates may be complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are ones which you eat, your sugar shoots up very high, means high glycemic index. That is called a simple sugar. So simple sugars include your cola drinks, all your maida products, all your fast food, pizza, burgers, bun, all these are simple sugars. All your juices, refined atte ki roti, naan, white rice, potato.
So these should be avoided or these should be reduced?
Well, possibly avoided.
Avoid it completely, these things.
Oh yeah, you can do that, because
no restaurant will run without these things.
Well, that's the reason that people are going to consume them, and so we are being driven by the industry then.
Yes.
So this is what's happening. Industry is driving you. So industry is driving the oxygen bars also. Industry drives a lot of things. Industry also drives the use of statins. I mean, another stupid thing which people have done is direct to consumer marketing.
Yes.
How can you market drugs direct to the consumer? And you drive the fear of God in him and tell him, hey, if you don't take it, you can get a heart attack. He says, why? I mean, let me try. It does no harm. But that's not the way medicine works. So one has to be, and the taste has to be changed.
The tastes have to be changed.
Yes,
people,
you do not just expect an individual that he would continue to have a sweet tooth and then he is going to subscribe to your logic of taking simple sugar of this nature, that nature. No.
So, fried is also big fast food and that's the most delicious to everyone's palate. How bad is fried?
So fried, what happens is when you fry at a temperature which is the boiling point of the oil, then you have a special group of fats which are called trans fatty acids. Short form, you write trans fats.
Trans fats, yes.
Now, trans fats are sheer poisons. And trans fats have got absolutely no benefit to human body. In fact, there are states which are being declared as trans fat free by legislation, not in India.
Oh, not in India.
For example, New York. New York is trans fat free. Even your McDonald's and other places, they are using alternative methods. They don't use deep frying or anything. They would use air fryer or something. So trans fats have to be zero. So every edible product in New York has to have a labeling which say trans fat zero. So trans fatty acids are produced by repeated use of oil, and even first time when you take it to a boiling point, it will produce some degree of trans fats.
So all these chola bhatura restaurants, which they using the oil,
same oil continuously, and when it comes down, they will add something on it, but they won't throw the old oil. They are totally atherogenic, means cholesterol which is going to deposit in the arteries of the heart and the brain and kidneys.
So doctor, tell me one thing. I mean, all of you know so much. You have your council, your associations, and I'm sure you can advise also. Do you issue these kind of advices to the government?
Oh yeah, the government knows about it. The government also.
But your family,
advices.
Everyone is consuming the same things. It's fast food everywhere. It's Blinkit and Zepto. Everything is right on the phone now, and everyone is consuming. And everything which you've said right now, the simple sugar and the maida, the breads, and now the fried. For a young person who's working, whether it's in Gurgaon or anyone, there is hardly any options without these, except for he calls a salad once a day. That's all what we are consuming. Whether we go for a movie, whether we go out for a lunch or dinner, because fried bhi hai, meetha bhi hai, सब कुछ है, और सब कुछ इतना dangerous है तो.
See, obviously, government can't create legislations on everything on what you're going to eat. Otherwise, then you will
American government is doing, right? They're informing people.
Well, the information, yes, you can give. You are also giving through your program the information. And people should take the health in their own hand. Why must they just put every blame on the government? I think these are some things which the society has to do for itself. And people all know that what is bad for health. I mean, you asked me, why didn't you have your lunch? And I said, I have had my lunch. And you forced me, no, you have something. I had to be firm, no, I'm not going to have, whether you like it or not. So the person has to be himself aware of what is good for him or bad for him. And if you are ignorant, then I'm sorry, it's to your peril.
And okay.
And little bit of it is related to poverty also, because how can they afford to throw the oil when things are so costly? So I'm not saying that the choices that poor people have are limited. When you talk of heart-healthy food is unaffordable. We say 5 to 7 helpings of green leafy and colored vegetables and fruits per day. Which family can eat 7 helpings? How many can afford? So that's fair enough. We have to accept it. That's sad, but.
And where does coffee come in?
Coffee has had a roller coaster, but again, both extremes are bad. So the stats say that up to 2 to 3 cups of tea or coffee are, in fact, some support that dark chocolates, cocoa, coffee and green tea, they are beneficial, they have antioxidant properties,
Okay.
but too much of any one of these things is also bad. So one must realize that up to 2 to 3 cups a day
You're
is
really
okay.
equating coffee and tea.
Yes, I'm equating coffee and tea, but then again you can say that you are equating a latte with a cappuccino. Well, and if you take a shot, it is double shot is even more thing. So definitely they can't be equated, but you have to give the general notion to the people that do everything the middle course in moderation.
In moderation.
Yeah, that's it. So if you take 2 or 3 cups of tea or coffee per day, again, if a coffee is a coffee where you put 4 teaspoons of coffee and there is a man drinking coffee with half a teaspoon, you can't equate them. So moderation is what is the need of the day. The buzzword is middle course.
And moderation in smoking and vaping? Where do you...
No, that is no moderation. That is absolute
Absolute
zero.
no.
Because here there is an element of research which says that their absence is also detrimental, means it has been shown, there are statistics available that the best mortality statistics are with a body weight of 10% from the normal nomogram body weight. So if you are less than 10%, your mortality increases. If you are more than 10% weight, mortality increases. So your ideal body mass index is 24 to 0.5. Up to 27, you get good mortality statistics, means you're going to live long. The moment you cross that 27 kg per meter square, your death rates increase. Life table shows.
And this happens because of smoking a lot.
No, this happens obesity.
Obesity, okay.
Yeah, now that's obesity. Smoking, there is no J-shaped curve. It is only one way. Zero smoking are the best statistics, and as you increase dose dependent, the mortality increases. Alcohol, J-shaped curve. If you are not taking alcohol, your mortality is marginally higher, heart mortality.
Okay.
When you take 30 ml per day, the risk of death comes down. And when moment you cross that 30 to 60 ml per day, your rate of death increases. So that is why we don't advise anyone to take alcohol for good health, because that person may not stop at 30. But when you look at hardcore science, the science says that 30 ml may be detrimental to your liver and other things, but for your heart health and your lipid profile,
Okay,
it
so
is
we're
better.
only talking about the heart here in terms of alcohol.
Yeah,
Is
but
30
overall
ml,
also
bad for the liver?
Well, if you have a genetic predisposition, certain enzyme deficiencies, then it's bad for liver. Otherwise, liver can handle it and it's good. I mean, if you look at the Last Supper of Christ, it was a
glass of wine.
If you talk of our own thing, somras, हमारे देवता भी लेते थे. तो somras का, it's again, I don't know, in this kind of a show, I presume you have sufficiently initiated audience that they will not get the things wrong. That if you do, that's why we say, if you don't take a drink, please don't start taking it for health. If you take a drink, if you're taking it beyond 60 ml per day, please bring it down. That is positively harmful. If you are taking 30 to 60 ml per day, that is one drink per day, as a social drink, then please don't have a guilt that I am drinking. It's all right. It's doing no harm, you can take it.
So that advice, when it comes from the doctors, ki okay, have a 30 to 60 ml drink, it will reduce your stress and it will be good for health. It's for people
who are already taking it and want to continue with it. We have no objection in taking social drinking to that extent. But for the general uninitiated, uneducated, the plebeian, people who do not, the bourgeois class, shall I say, then you have to be very dogmatic and you have to give pre-digested diktats to them. So in that diktat, we cannot give this kind of a logic to them. Then we say, no, sharab is poison, don't take it. But when you are talking of hardcore science, then the hardcore science is that it has a J-shaped curve.
So is wine more is healthy than
No,
alcohol? There's
alcohol
nothing.
is a class effect. It's all same.
It's all same,
That
okay.
red wine is good was again one of those red wine industry-driven research, and it was all conflicts of interest. And all that research coming from Korea has been already shown to be flawed. So please don't go by this that red wine is good and you must finish bottles after this. No.
Okay. So, doctor, you deal with the heart. So, this is a question from one of the viewers. I had put a post, so some questions. So, what is the role of, say, anxiety, fear, and grief also? Do they really affect the heart so much as other emotions like stress? They also kind of stress all of these? Let's take grief.
All emotions, we have not studied ever in medicine individual virtues of this nature and values in specific silo-based. Grief in medicine or pain in medicine or stress, they are generally clubbed together as emotional aspects.
Emotional aspect.
So when you look at then these affections, what we call, then they tend to increase your hormonal secretion.
Okay.
They are required, the hormones adrenaline, noradrenaline are required for stress, countering the stress. Those are the body's protective responses. Steroids are liberated in moments of stress by the body to cope with that stress. These hormones are harmful. So all kinds of emotional, including too much of happiness. So that's why we have a thing called holiday syndrome. Put it in a Google and you'll get it, holiday syndrome. Now holiday syndrome is you go on a holiday, you are excited, you take extra drinks also, you are dancing, you are bubbly. So body is not able to handle that kind of a thing, and your heart rate starts going up and it shoots up. And you may get irregular rhythms of the heart, and those irregular rhythms put you into the hospital and you are labeled as holiday heart syndrome.
Okay.
Now holiday heart syndromes are irregular rhythms of the heart because of
unnatural
holidays.
What you did, too much of you did.
What element of stress, happiness, drinks, dancing, you cannot separate them individually.
So happiness is different from enjoyment. So when you say too much of happiness, it's like always being happy can't be bad.
Positive happiness, yes, I agree, is very good. That is the ideal you should work for, is happiness in life.
That's what the Gita says, always be even-minded. Neither be, not too much of enjoyment, neither be too much distress.
Well,
always be in
the Epicurean thought of ataraxia. When you talk of ataraxia, is this only. Ataraxia is tranquility of mind. So they say that you must get happiness, but not for the hedonistic pleasure, but for the tranquility of mind. And that happiness and pleasure is welcome. So that is also a positive. But when you go in these kind of a thing, when you say I'm happy, that happiness is not the ataraxia happiness. That is what I have been using again and again, the hedonistic happiness of worldly pleasures, and then you start jumping. You drink and you forget the ills of this body, and then you dance. No, that's not happiness.
So I call that enjoyment actually when you engage in something out of yourself for joy. And people confuse with that, that party with that loud music, good music, people and late nights and everything. It's people really think that's happiness, and that's really very, very harmful. So is this whatever we spoke, is this the cause for, we really hearing so much of these young adults getting heart attacks? Or is it just in the news too much? Or was it happening? Or why is that so? People in 30s, people in 24, they were gymming, they were swimming, and they actually had a heart fail.
So all of the things that you mentioned and a few more are applicable. Yes, they are being reported more also. Earlier also people were dying. Typical village, if I can speak in Hindi, this is a classical, I come from Haryana, and the village used to say, Buddha कुएं पे गया था वापस नहीं आया. Buddha is the word used for the senior, Dadaji ko. कुएं पे गया था, वापस नहीं आया. Why? If you went there, why didn't he come back? He came every time. Why not this time? Now those were heart attacks. They were happening then also. So now they are being reported. But by the same token, all these things also, your lifestyle has changed, your exercise levels have come down, your food habits have changed, the sleep patterns have changed.
Yes.
You know, that's a very important thing. In fact, American Heart Association had what is called Life's Essential 7. So you should keep your blood sugar under control, your blood pressure under control, you should keep lipids under control, those 7 things they had. They have added now, it is called now the Life's Essential 8.
Sleep.
And the 8th essential is sleep of 8 hours. And not only just sleep,
Right.
you
Same time
pop
sleep.
in pills and then you sleep. No, it is proper sleep.
Proper natural
Where
sleep with the
REM and non-REM, dreaming and non-dreaming sleeps, both occur. So sleep is very important. So all these BPOs and indulging with dealing with North America, they work at the night time.
yeah.
So, and when you work at the night time, you eat
You eat.
also wrong things at wrong hours.
The entire system goes for a
Well,
toss.
that's it.
Entire
Then
system
you
goes
start
for a toss. Smoking also.
smoking, and then nighttime, daytime, still you can go out, do a little 5 minutes walk. Nighttime, where would you go? So you smoke, you stay inside the room. So all things go wrong with this. So all of them are producing increased. And then all these deaths which are occurring are not heart attacks. We should get them right.
Not all, but a lot of being are reported. And I'm just talking about young adults.
So they are not heart attacks. They have a lot of other conditions which they have ignored. A person may have a narrowed valve, may have a extra growth of muscle, a disease called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. They may have irregular rhythms of the heart because of electrical pathway problems, channelopathies, so many things. So we are not doing health checks for in developing world for the people who indulge in heavy physical activity or sports or gymming.
Well, everyone says go for a health checkup after 40, once a year. Before that, you're completely fine.
No, but we don't say that. We say a health check should be done at birth,
Oh,
including an echo.
Yes.
It should be done at admission to the school, and it should be the incidence of obesity in children in schools
Yes, it's
is
increasing.
touching 30 to 40%.
So you're saying
So
that a
they
health
need
checkup
checkup.
should be done for everyone once a year.
If not once in a year, but I'm saying at the entry of school, and then if you find that he is obese or
Okay, then in that
you may
case it's-
special groups you may do. But the current recommendations are that 35 to 45 once in 5 years, 45 to 60 once in 2 years, beyond 60 once in a year,
Oh.
if everything is fine.
If everything is fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that
But
helps.
if you are obese, your parents have had heart attacks, or you have any record, then you have to go for more frequent heart checks.
So all this is not related to COVID in terms of these young heart attacks and people getting all these kind of problems with the heart, because पीछे बहुत news आई थी, that either the COVID or the vaccine, it was the same thing, that they cause a lot of clots.
So yes, the COVID has been shown to produce what we call thrombotic milieu, but you always have to look at risk-benefit ratio. So the number of lives it saves,
Yes.
which is in lakhs, and if you lose one unfortunate one who develops a clot, then that risk-benefit ratio is so overwhelmingly in the favor of vaccines that you have to give it. But both vaccines and COVID can give you inflammation, what is called myocarditis, which can give you cardiac arrest. It can give you clots, which can block your arteries and give you heart attacks. And it can produce...
But there are ways that you can manage these things, or if there is a...
Yeah, they are managed on standard protocols now.
That is a good
But
lifestyle.
once in a while, these disasters will occur.
Okay.
But one shouldn't be scared of them. I mean, and if need be, vaccine should be taken. And
But COVID is a reality, right? It's right now there.
it's
That's
there.
it.
It's the
there.
reality, and it will stay with you.
it'll stay with us.
Influenza or flu, but we every year we get flu. No, flu was a pandemic once in 1900 and whatever, 4 or 6 or 8, whenever that initial part of the 20th century was influenza pandemic, like COVID. And it became endemic with us. Now we are not talking about that.
So COVID is an endemic now, and it's there.
It will stay.
But this has the ability to create these clots. So it's more important to manage all those things in the lifestyle of every young person.
So if you get any unaccustomed or you're not used to that symptom and you never faced it earlier, then and you can't find an explanation for it. You have a little chest discomfort or upper abdominal discomfort, and you have eaten in a khomcha, then you will say, oh, I have dietary indiscretion, please manage it with whatever. But you have eaten everything fine at home, you have not nothing, and then you have these discomfort. Unexplained symptoms should always be reported to a doctor. And one should never do this mistake of labeling it gas and acidity. Well, if it was gas, you should have been getting yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. Why is it upward suddenly after 40 years, one day gas? So they should, it's common sense. It is no great shakes of intelligence required. For 40 years I didn't have burning. Today I'm having burning. I must go to the doctor. Unexplained symptom must merit a visit to the hospital.
Generally, I don't think so many people do this. Even I don't do this. Ek hota hai, we just go back, shayad kal kuch khaya hoga. We just put it there and it's like, ab ho gaya, jo bhi hona hai. So I just saw this news where the newsreader said that, you know, sleeping habit is really not a habit but part of our genetics. Okay, so people who get up early in the morning, it's really very normal with them. It's very natural, and those people are generally very good planners, or they're ambitious, or they're very analytical in their ways of life. And people who get up late and sleep late, they are like the night owls. You know, they'll be more adaptable, they'll be more creative, and they will have more experiences. They will love experiences. So is this kind of true?
Well, I'm not sure about the categorizations of the way that you said, but definitely there are early risers and the late risers. That is scientific. And we truly believe that sleep should never be interrupted according to a fixed hours by putting an alarm. The nature's biological clock should wake you up, and nature has a biological clock in it. So while in the evening you should change your lighting system, your habits, do not watch the television or the screens of your cell phones or laptops. They emit blue light. And this blue light, when it goes into the retina, it keeps firing. And once you switch off the source, the already entered rays, they keep firing for at least 60 minutes.
At least an hour.
At least 60 minutes. So they'll keep firing. The retina means the brain. Then the brain won't be able to sleep properly. So you will switch off the light and you keep tossing and turning, but you will not sleep. So, and then there is a thing inside, melatonin, and a sleep-forming hormone that responds to the light, to the wavelength of the light. So yellow wavelength produces is more salutary to sleep, and white the light is better for waking hours. That's why we say that mood lighting, when you say mood lighting, is not for mood of that for party you put this and that. No, that mood lighting is only that when you get up in the morning, you should always have a white light in the house. That's why you go out in the sun. And you find the light is absolutely white. And the setting sun gets into the...
And that's the way the body also works. With the rise of the sun, you should also rise up. But then fir aap keh rahe ho ki...
So in evening 6 o'clock, you should put on the yellow lights. The light, warm yellow, what we call. And that will be more conducive. Do not put those glaring bulbs on the walls, then use table lamps or diffuse lighting. And a person on his own makeup will choose his sleeping and waking hours, which should not be modified artificially with drugs. And those cycles should not be changed. So we are manipulating those cycles for our thing, because, I mean, I'm not saying I have a better option. If you have to go to work, you have to go to work. Even if I'm a night owl, I have to operate in the morning, so I have to go. But there are two definitely, it's called chronotype. The word is in our medicine, early chronotype and late chronotype. That's the word which is used, technical word.
Okay.
So early chronotype are the ones who get up early in the morning, and late chronotypes are the ones which are the night owls we refer to.
Isn't this a habit? I mean, you can always change your habits.
To some extent, yes, you can create a habit. So when you, by practice, you can change your habit, absolutely. Yeah. So even it's what you inculcate, even sweet tooth is what you develop in the child. If you don't, I mean, you look at European countries, Netherlands, child is not allowed to be given artificial food for 3 years. Mind my word, 3 years. Natural food, whatever level of sugar is there in the natural food, you eat, give mashed orange, mashed banana. Now, sugar in the banana is all right, but you are not by law allowed to add anything. And you do not develop that sweet tooth, then you will not be eating all these things. So same thing, you can inculcate some of them, but then there is a natural tendency also. And we must also recognize that tendency and not force. I mean, it's like someone has more inkling towards studies, someone more inkling for playing, someone has more inkling for working with mechano sets and is towards kind of creative engineering. So that's, we have so many people and each one has creativity of a different kind. So we must identify, and sleep should be customized to that child's need.
Yes, it should really be an important aspect of this.
Absolutely.
I think that's being ignored the most.
Yes.
When it comes to working, ignore the sleep. When it comes to partying, ignore the sleep. Because काम पे तो सुबह सही time पे ही जाना है, and it's like, again,
so good sleep, 8 hours, is now one of the essential elements of good health recommended by the medical profession.
So we'll try to disclose it here, but one piece of advice from you for everyone. You know, you've spoken so much, although if we follow each and everything, it becomes such a boring life. You can't eat the whites, you can't eat the fries, you can't eat the sugars, maintain your sleeping patterns, and exercise, walk, avoid the pollution and every day. How do you survive for everyone? You know, everyone's working, and in these times with a normal 300 plus AQI, what kind of a day pattern you'll just recommend? What should be the bare minimum exercise, bare minimum kind of foods? And then you do the rest if we can't change ourselves.
Well, I can tell you the spectrum we had on all fronts is so amazingly wide that life doesn't come to an end the way you said. No, it doesn't. You have just created in your head that bun is very good. Believe you me, if you put milk and sugar in the tea, and which I am forced to eat drink sometimes if you go to someone's formal house where you can't demand, I virtually have to close my nose and gullet and drink in one go because it's poisonous to me. I love to drink black tea once a day, and I can't put tea and sugar. And a person who's used to sugar and tea will say, oh, well, all my life is finished. So please, that is a totally wrong notion. If you choose to do something and you choose it realizing that you want to do, you are convinced about it, then you will have no problem changing your lifestyle. First thing, you have to become convinced. And take the middle course. Take the middle course. Do not have no to anything and everything. The extremes are bad. You know, you have an extreme. You have an extreme of someone is rash. That is one extreme. The other extreme is cowardice. And in between is courage. That courage is the most blissful virtue to have. But the other two are vices. So any place or anything you see, the two extremes are vices. It is the middle which is the virtue. Now, reason again, if you walk, say about 30 to 40 minutes, briskly 6 to 8 kilometer per hour speed, so that even in winter months you have mild beads of perspiration,
yes.
not heavy sweat, no, just mild. That's
That's
your
the
heart
bare
rate.
minimum.
Theoretically, it should be taken for about 20 minutes to 90% of your target heart rate. So according to your height, weight, sex, there are nomograms available on Google, and you will have peak heart rate 170, for example.
So that's very good.
90
Just
means
getting some
roughly 150. So you should raise your heart rate to that point. And you should have 20 minutes of exercise maintaining this level.
Okay.
10 minutes to reach up to that level, what is called warming up. 10 minutes to cool off this level, which is called cooling off.
Cooling down.
Don't stop from the peak exercise.
Yes.
So if you do that, moderation, 30% or 25% of your calories must come from fat. Zero fat, not compatible with life. About 20% of your calories must come from proteins. Your muscles need it. And about 40 to 50%, maximum 55, I would say 50, should come from carbohydrates. Try to keep them complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrate means millets. Take what we call mota anaj, bajra, makki, jowar, instead of refined atta.
This is coming in the mainstream now. All these things.
Take brown rice instead of white rice. So like that kind of a thing, you can have complexities added. Lot of tubers, they belong to the potato family, but they are complex. तो आप उनको खा सकते हैं, ग्राउंड लेवल के ट्यूबर्स जितने भी हैं. Even shakargandi is better than potato. It is into complex carbohydrates. Have, if you enjoy a drink, not
more than 60 ml.
30 to 60 ml, do not cross that.
And what about people जो पूरा हफ्ता नहीं पीते और Saturday को 300 ml पीते हैं?
Binge drinking is the worst.
It's the worst.
That's called binge drinking. And always do look at your mental health.
Yeah.
So maintain sanity at home, respect your wife, respect your children, and spend some time with friends. 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of those alom vilom. So once you can walk, one time you can do these small exercises of that nature. You said ideal day, that would be an ideal day. And work for about 8 hours, 9 hours. That is desirable. You should work. Why not? But at work, do not do binge eating and do not eat on the street. Carry your own food from home. That's the way. And unless you have an hunger, don't eat. That's more important. Don't make it an impulsive habit of putting into the mouth. And cooking is very important. They say God sent food, devil sent the cook. It is the cook which makes the mess. Dal achhi hai ki chicken acha hai. If you are taking chicken tandoori and dal makhni, then chicken is better. We say fish is very good. But if you create an amritsari fish, fried in that oil with trans fats, then that fish is nothing but poison. We say olive oil is good.
Yes.
But you start cooking in olive oil, that's horrible. Olive oil is good as what we call virgin olive oil. When its temperature is always kept below 80 degrees. So some common sense have to be used. You want to eat paratha, eat. And I do that. So what you do is you create a paratha, you put aloo, whatever you pyaj in the roti, you make a roti out of that on the tawa, thick one. Bring it out and then put the ghee on it.
Ghee is good, right?
And then when you put it outside, the temperature stays less than 80. But when you put it on the tawa, temperature goes up to 200, 250. So then it becomes trans fats. So those kind of sensible thinking if you use, parboiling, sauteing, try and have fresh fruit and fresh salad, sometimes include it in your meal. Always eat a salad or fruit before you start your meal so that you can reduce those things. So these kind of small things will change, and then let tomorrow be tomorrow, let it happen.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. And I hope we had a good conscious conversation. And he really summed it up very well. All you need to do is just to be conscious and just to be aware of what you're doing. And there's Google for all of us to find out what we need to find out. Although he summed it up in 1 hour, whatever I thought was important for all of us. And then I'll take a call from all of you. Thank you. This is Dhruv from The Conscious Way. See you again.